Welcome into Eye on Northeast Kansas, the podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Bruner. This is where we recap some of those top interviews you saw on Eye on Northeast Kansas, the TV show. It streams live for you 4 o'clock Central Time, Monday through Friday, from our WIBW TV studios in the capital of Kansas, the great city of Topeka. And like much of the nation, we have been in a deep freeze around the capital city and all of Northeast Kansas over the past week or so. That meant that the Topeka Rescue Mission and its many community partners, that includes Fellowship Highcrest, along with Sent Topeka that works with the church, Vallejo, a host of groups all came together to open warming centers for people in our community who don't have a place to get in from the cold. How did it go, and what are the needs moving forward? TRM CEO Lamanda Cunningham and TRM's Miriam Crable visited Eye on Northeast Kansas to update the effort. You were open last week, you reopened Monday. How many people, Lamanda, have you cared for over that period?
Yes, just this week alone, we're at 140. And the first one we did was 169. Last week was pretty much the same. And that is not including what we've done in our shelters, which is an average of between 240 and 270 a night.
For the warming centers, and particularly, that number is that unduplicated individuals?
That's unduplicated.
And about how many each night? Like last night, how many people were at, because there are 2 locations, is that correct right now?
Well, we have 3 locations going. We have the one at the Topeka Rescue Mission, one at Fellowship Highcrest, and then our sweet friends at Street Team Ministry and Bread of Life are at Ripley Community Center, also operating one. And then our good friends over at Central Park Christian Church are doing one as well. And so when you look at all of those, we have anywhere between 90 to 110 on each night.
And then I understand Vallejo too has been, some folks need extra attention or a different place to stay. They've been stepping up and assisting there.
Yes, and we've also appreciated Vallejo and TPD CIT outreach and behavioral health unit. They have really helped the Topeka Rescue Mission outreach teams this week. So because of all 3 of those entities and Matt Baldwin with the Breakthrough House, we've been able to launch about 3 to 5 teams every day doing outreaches as well, doing transports to get people to safe havens.
And that means, Miriam, you're physically going out and finding people who maybe don't know that these centers exist because they're not watching TV. They're not getting text messages.
Correct. And not just that, they also might not be able to get to us because the weather's been so cold, and then with snow and everything, they just can't get to us. So our teams will pick them up and bring them in. So there's lots of reasons that our outreach teams go out to try to help people.
What other services do they get when they come to the warming centers? Because I've seen some people ask, well, why doesn't every church just simply open its doors and do this?
So we try to offer them case management. Like if they're looking for housing, we try to get them started on that process. TPD is there doing IDs. We also have 3 meals a day. We help them take showers, all of those kinds of things that they can't normally do when they're living outside. So just trying to meet all of their needs. There's mental health needs too, so Vallejo helps with that, with just trying to keep people calm and help them work through some of the things they're struggling with. So whatever people need, we try to be able to provide at the time, during that time they're with us.
Obviously 60 degrees is good news, but how long do you anticipate keeping the shelters open, the warming centers?
I just announced about an hour ago that we'll be closing tomorrow at 11. And we're doing that because temperatures will be around 20. There's no precipitation. The wind chills aren't supposed to be bad. Plus it's sun shining. So we'll be giving people breakfast tomorrow morning, and then a sack full of proteins and different foods and waters as they go out. Into the 50s and 60s, like Jeremy was saying this weekend.
There is, so tonight you still have a place, if you know somebody, they can go to. Children's Palace is the location for TRM or Fellowship Highcrest or any of those churches that you mentioned. This does create a need, though, for all the organizations involved, because this is not something that any of these groups have put in their budget for the year, so to speak. You've kind of called out the city a little bit today, Lamanda. What is it that you would like to see city government and taxpayers perhaps do to participate in this?
Sure. I think that there is a narrative out there in our community right now that really isn't being heard by decision makers. It's one of those things that sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease, but a lot of times the people that are speaking positively and passionately on behalf of our unsheltered neighbors, they're not being heard because they're not the ones being aggressive. They're not the ones that are complaining. And so I'm really challenging those in our community right now that feel that there are injustices being done, because of the ordinances and because of the lack of care for the person. I hope that those individuals really start speaking up and saying, we don't agree with homelessness and some of the challenges that come with it, but we don't want all of these disciplinary things done when we don't have the proper resources and continuum of care in place. And so I just hope that decision makers really start acknowledging that lives are being saved out here, and it's because of the nonprofits and the incredible hearts of many volunteers that are doing it, not being paid and on their own time.
Well, we will find out what the city is going to say, because there are a lot of discussions that continue on all sides of the issue.
Sure.
Lamanda, Miriam, appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks Melissa.
So much.
So again, the warming centers with warmer weather in the forecast have officially closed. We did reach out to the city of Topeka, by the way, to get a response from them on some of the comments made about what kind of support the city is or is not offering. City spokesperson Dan Garrett had said that the city of Topeka does remain committed to outreach efforts. They said that staff from the city's Housing Services Division was continuing to assist. They had an Equity Access Shelter team member present during intake and supporting individuals. The Behavioral Health Unit of TPD, they said, were there as well. Plus, they said they had the Topeka Fire Department working and directing individuals to the warming centers while they were out on call. So discussions continue between the city and nonprofits on how everyone can work together to make sure everyone in the community is cared for. A lot of people are renewing efforts when it comes to mental health in our community as well. One new partnership is in the Manhattan area. It is between the VA and UFM. Jessica Madrell, who's a clinical psychiatrist with VA's Whole Health, along with Jake Huber of UFM Community Learning Center in Manhattan, visited ION Northeast Kansas to let us know what they are doing together. Long titles because you do great big work in the Manhattan area. Jessica, what is this partnership all about?
Yeah, so we really want to bring whole health into the community. And so whole health has been an approach to healthcare within the VA for the last 10 or so years. And the hope is that we want to bring the veterans' voice into their treatment planning. We really want veterans to tell us what's most important to them and make sure that we can provide them with services that are going to align with their health and well-being journey. And part of that opportunity is bringing access to preventative care into the communities that they live in. And so we've been able to partner with UFM for this really exciting opportunity to give veterans access to whole health out in the Manhattan community.
And one of the things is a class. That's specifically what it's going to be. Jake, how is it going to be structured? What will you be focusing on in this session?
Absolutely. So the Veteran Wellness class is a one-day class for anyone to take. It's open to the public. However, the first 35 veterans per semester that take this class are eligible for a $200 scholarship to take any of our other community enrichment classes. Things like axe throwing or skateboarding or paranormal investigation.
I did not expect you to give a list like that. That's so fun.
I could give you a massive list because we have so many different classes that we offer, including professional development classes that, it's just a different take on education.
For the veterans class itself, what are the sorts of topics you want to cover there? Because it's, 90 minutes long?
It is an hour and a half.
Yeah, and so in that whole health course, they will get access to a personal health inventory, and it's going to look at a holistic approach to healthcare. So we're going to look at things like moving your body, your surroundings, family, friends, and relationships, your sleep. We're going to take a holistic approach to what healthcare means, and veterans will have the opportunity to fill out that personal health inventory and really identify what's most important. And then figure out where they want to start. We want to help them identify, where are the areas where you're lacking, or we can add some additional support. And then how can we give you access to those things, whether it's through the VA or out in the community.
Why is it important for you to have this support from the VA and be able to connect with them? Because if I think about the Manhattan area, obviously Fort Riley's right on your doorstep. A lot of veterans choose to remain and retire in your area.
Absolutely. K-State's got a big population of veterans. Manhattan's got a big population of veterans. And there weren't any programs that I was aware of that allowed veterans to take continuing education classes outside of the big universities. So those fun classes that UFM, is all about, you would have to pay out of pocket for them. Well, this partnership with the VA allows veterans to take that financial side out of the equation by getting a scholarship to, have fun.
Scholarship to have fun. I like it.
focus on their mental health.
And that is a big component. We just had some guests last week talking about efforts in the Manhattan area to improve mental health care. How does this play into that when you talk about the holistic and the whole health approach, and especially when you talk about veterans?
Sure. I mean, as we know, having personal development opportunities, being able to pursue hobbies are incredibly important to our mental health. They're the things that keep us grounded in the midst of stressors, and it's just important to have positive things in our lives. And so, many veterans there may still be some that are in the process of getting out of the military and transitioning back into civilian life. It's so important to be able to have opportunities for veterans and the military population to be able to reconnect with some of those things that maybe they couldn't pursue when they were busy serving our country.
Now, do people need to attend every single session, or is the goal that they go to one class like this and then kind of explore their options from there?
It is a one class and done.
Okay.
Take it once and then you are in our system, you are eligible for the scholarship and to take any of our other classes.
So unique. You said anyone can take it even if they're not a veteran, but it's the veterans who'd be eligible for the scholarship opportunities.
Correct.
Okay, so right there is the address, 1221 Thurston Street. Tryufm.org is where you can go to enroll. You can also email them at info@tryufm.org. I will get that information on WIBW.com right after the show as well. Jessica, Jake, thank you both so much. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
It's a lot of ongoing work and ongoing partnerships, so you're encouraged to reach out and see how they might be able to help. Also partnering to improve mental health services in the community are Scent Topeka and Vallejo Behavioral Health. There has a partnership that they recently started. So, and they explain it here because a lot of people who are getting treated for mental health, some people take medications to assist with their well-being, and those do require regular check-ins, but that can be an issue if you're not able to get to a doctor's office. So Vallejo and Scent partnered to bring some of this closer to home. Scent's Tricia Sublette and Vallejo's Kristen Schock visited to tell us about it. Welcome to you telling us about this great partnership that has been taking place. And if we can start with a look at the need, Tricia. Scent operates out of Southeast Topeka, the Highcrest neighborhood in particular. What was it that you were seeing there in terms of access to services and the need that people had?
So at Scent, we're able to offer mental health services, but we don't have anybody who can do that medicine or for specifically for mental health needs. And we know that it's a transportation barrier. There's a lot of need to get across town, and we only have one bus stop. And so it can be really taxing to get across town for those appointments, just to get your med checks. And med checks, sometimes you need those about every 3 months. So we said, hey, what if clients could access those appointments straight from our building?
And this is talking about medications for people who are being treated for mental illness. Kristen, what is the med check that we refer to when it comes to mental health?
For medications, like Tricia said, every 3 months they have to have those medications looked at to see if there needs to be any changes and to continue getting those scripts written.
And what do you see? Do sometimes people are they mismedicated or they just miss appointments and so then they fall off their meds? What happens if people don't end up getting those med checks as needed?
Both of those things, yes. Falling off of medications can have an increase in symptoms and can cause some problems for people if that happens. So we want to make sure that they're able to access those so they can continue to take their medications and stay stable.
So what is it that Vallejo did to help out?
Well, we already offer telehealth services, but in talking with Scent, we realized there might be a need for someone who may not have internet services, they may not have the technology they need, they may not have just a space for that privacy to have that meeting. And so we thought it would be great to have that available right there in their neighborhood that they could get to easily and utilize that.
So people can go to your location, in order to access it. I noticed some people, they think it's foreign. Doesn't everybody have a phone now? Doesn't everybody have internet in that home? What is happening in that Southeast Topeka neighborhood that you're saying, no, not so easy?
So for us, it was an easy yes to be able to create a private space. Even if you have a phone, maybe you don't have a space that you feel comfortable talking with your doctor. Maybe there's too many people around. For us to be able to just create that space and accessibility, it was an easy way for us to support our community, partnering with Vallejo, who does that really valuable service that we aren't able to offer.
What has been the expansion, Kristen, when it comes to telehealth for mental health care and mental health services?
Well, it expanded quite a bit with COVID, and especially with therapy. And so that we have been doing quite a bit of that as an option for people who aren't able to get across, transportation barriers. I don't know how much it's gone up. I can't tell you that number, but it's really been helpful for people, especially people who isolate and don't want to get out.
I'll tell you what, yes, telehealth went up during COVID, but it also highlighted what you're talking about, the barricade to access to those broadband and mental health, or not just mental health services, but broadband services, that people who you could say, well, if you can't get out, just call up your telehealth. Well, there could be maybe an age barrier or that access barrier, because internet access is an expense.
Yeah.
So this is a great solution for it.
Absolutely, and we offer many other services right in our building, so they can come visit our pantry and do a med check, visit our clinic. There's a lot of things they can accomplish by that one visit, making that time really valuable for them.
When did the partnership launch, Kristen?
Last Wednesday.
Yep.
Last Wednesday, so super new. What are you seeing maybe already in these first days?
We did not have anyone access the services this first day, but there's going to be some time for it to get out, the word to get out a little bit. And even if it's one person a month, it still is that one person that we increased access for. So
Absolutely. So when are you offering the service? Because it's not like you're doing this every single day. When could people go and access these services?
Wednesdays from 8:30 to 4:30.
And part of it is they need to be a Vallejo patient, right?
Correct.
How do they maybe start that process?
If they are not a Vallejo patient, they can go to our intake center and have an intake and get evaluated for services.
And you can get them hooked up as well.
Yeah, I will send them directly there. All the clientele will be scheduled through Vallejo, and we'll just provide the space and then welcome them and show them how to get started.
Well, it's an important partnership, an important way to not only utilize telehealth, but also establish that connection for those who maybe don't have those internet facilities or access or capabilities in their own homes. You can get information at centtopeka.com, vallejotopeka.org. Tricia, Kristen, thank you so very much. Appreciate you being here to let us know about it.
Thank you.
Cent actually has a lot of mental health services that they have gotten started in the Highcrest community. They're doing a lot of work there to make access easier, removing barriers, and this is just another example of how they have been working to do that. Folks in Manhattan are working to make sure teens who are in foster care have a special place to not only have a fun childhood experience this summer, but also to connect with others who have shared experiences. To support the effort, they have a fundraiser coming up. Emily Garwood visited to let us know about it. Emily, welcome to you.
Thank you so much.
You have a benefit coming up to help this out, but the camps themselves, what are they all about?
Yeah, so at Flint Hills Foster Teen Camps, our mission is to ignite hope and foster healing within foster teens across the state of Kansas. So we have 2 camps that we do this through. The first is called the Great Adventure Camp, and this is for teenagers aged 12 to 15. We have 1 boys camp and 1 girls camp. The main goal of this camp is through classic activities, classic camp activities, will foster camaraderie, build trust, and build confidence in these kiddos. The second camp is called Crossroads. It is catered toward our older teenagers, aged 16 to 18, and it is a co-ed camp. This camp is a 4-day camp rather than a 3-day camp, and focuses a little bit more on those life skills that these teens will need as they transition out of the complexities of the foster care system.
Why did you decide to start an organization and start these camps? What is it about this specific population of teens and the needs that they have?
Yeah, so foster teenagers are just a very underserved and kind of forgotten community. Foster little kiddos receive a lot of attention and help, and as these kids get into their teenage years, life gets tougher in general, and being in the foster care system and healing from the trauma that these kiddos have experienced just makes things a lot harder. So very underserved population that we're hoping to help and build up and shed some light on.
Imagine there's a little bit of magic in just bringing them together among their own peers, people
Absolutely.
who truly understand what they're going through. How much do you see that transform them and help them?
Yeah, it's really beautiful to watch these kids build relationships with each other. It's very sweet to see them exchanging phone numbers and social media tags as they exit camp, but just to be unplugged on the ranch for 3 to 4 days at each of these camps lets the teens focus on themselves and their healing, and then building those relationships with others who have gone through the same thing things that they have.
Of course, these camps come with expenses in
Yes,
order
they
to be
do.
able to put them on and bring the young people in. So what do you have coming up to give people the chance to support this cause?
Yeah, so on March 29th, we have our annual Evening of Hope auction. And this is a really special event with a lot of energy around it. And so, like I said, on March 29th at 5 p.m., we'll start our cocktail hour and then transition into dinner and a live auction. But we'll also have a silent auction. So for those who can't attend, there's still plenty of time if you want to buy tickets. But for those who can't attend, we have a silent auction that will go live 1 week before the event and will stay live until the 29th at 7:30 p.m.
So you're telling me we can bid on that online without a ticket?
Absolutely, you can.
I love silent auctions,
Yes.
so we'll have to do that.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
the event itself, if people aren't able to attend, they can also bid in the silent auction, but you're also looking perhaps for sponsors as
Yep.
well, if people are so moved to support the cause in another way.
Absolutely. So you can sponsor our auction. We have a couple of tiered levels of that to promote a business. And we are also still accepting live and silent auction items. And then our auction site will also just let you give a donation if you'd like to. So it costs about $600 for each camper to attend camp. So you could set up a recurring $50 donation once a month and sponsor a kiddo to go to camp as well.
That's a fantastic idea. How many kids do you hope to serve through the camp this summer?
Yeah, so each camp serves anywhere from 10 to 20 teens. And we'd hope as we raise money through the years that we can add some more camps along the way. So this summer we'll likely serve around 50 to 60 teens and hope to grow that number in the years to come.
At $600 per teen. So do the math, folks, and you can see that they need you to support the cause. The Evening of Hope for the Flint Hills Foster Teen Camps is on Saturday, March 29th. The event takes place at Sunset Zoo in Manhattan. You can find information on the tickets and sponsorship opportunities at fhftc.org. I will have the link on WIBW.com as well. Is that the same site where we're going to be able to see the silent auction?
It will be linked on that site.
Very
so
good.
the silent auction will be at givebutter.com/FHFTC25.
Or find it on the main site
Or
if you
find
can't
it on the
remember
main
all
site.
that.
Yes.
Emily, thank you. Thanks for letting us know all about the program.
Thank you so much.
It's such a great program, and we hope that you can go and have a little bit of fun while supporting a good cause as well. A lot of good causes are supported by the United Way of Kaw Valley, and they are in the midst of their annual fundraising campaign. There is a lot of time for folks in the area to help out. Angel Romero of United Way Kaw Valley and this year's campaign chair, Marlou Wegener, visited to tell us what they have been able to do so far in terms of progress and why this is so important. Welcome to both of you.
Thank
I bet
you.
this campaign has been absolutely no fun for you all.
Not at all.
No,
Not
not
at
at all.
all.
Very quiet.
Too
Not
yeah,
it.
too
I know.
terribly
No
quiet,
chatty,
shy.
nothing.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
But it does make it fun because you try to inject fun in this campaign,
course.
Marlou. What have people been doing already to help out in this goal?
Well, there has been a lot of company campaigns, and some have turned in results, and some are still working on that. And a lot of times those involve lots of fun activities, while education about all of the wonderful work that United Way of Kaw Valley does. But at the same point in time, it's just a lot of fun and also sort of some camaraderie and bringing back that connection with people too.
Yeah, we were talking about the pandemic. It's like kind of the before times and the after times. Here we are now. The goal this year for the campaign is what?
$1.7 million. That's why we're a good team.
I
that way.
And how far are you at the halfway point?
Yeah, you know what? We are over the halfway point now. So we are at about 867,000. So we are closing in on $1 million, and that's pretty amazing when we think about what's happened in just the 6 months' time since campaign started.
Absolutely. So the amount raised so far, how much does that mean to you? What are you able to do with that dollar amount?
Oh my gosh, those dollars transform lives in so many ways. Those dollars right now, that would help us cover a whole semester of preschool for kiddos at Pine Ridge Prep Preschool right now. So those students are getting access to that critical pre-kindergarten classes that they wouldn't have anywhere else. They're getting that vital instruction to get them set up for success. It also helps with our work in volunteer engagement. So part of our mission is how do we connect people to volunteer opportunities in our community. And so we know in just these first 6 months, we've had over 1,000 people get connected to volunteer opportunities on KawValleyVolunteers.org, and dollars help make that work possible too.
There's so much that people do and need and give back. There's a dollar value to the volunteering, isn't there?
There is, yeah, it's about, now it's about $35 an hour hour is what a volunteer hour is worth. So when you look at the volunteers we've had just in these first 6 months, that's over $100,000 worth of economic impact in our community.
But the need isn't filled yet, Marlou.
not.
Why is it so vital? What other sorts of programs and efforts will the money raised support?
Well, and I've been involved with United Way for decades, and one of my favorite things about United Way is the fact there's several things, but also taking a look at a longer strategic approach. There's one effort called the Whole Family, and so United Way of Kaw Valley really understands the need to take a look at the whole family. Yes, certainly they need food. They need clothes, the kids need education, but they're taking a whole look about how that whole trajectory can be changed with an entire family, not maybe just one or two members of it. So that work, again, is long-term. It does take funding to accomplish that with some incredible organizations that are making that work. So for me and me personally, it's because we're really looking at how do you change the whole trajectory? How do you change a whole scope of what it means for every family member in a family to be successful?
And it does start early. You mentioned Pine Ridge Prep. United Way Kaw Valley partners with Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library on the work of our BFF, Dolly Parton.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the
Mine
Imagination
too.
Library in Shawnee County, right? You guys, you weren't jealous at all. So the Imagination Library is just another example of what you all do. So they need you to give and to continue giving. And you know what? There are United Ways throughout the state of Kansas. We're talking about United Way of Kaw Valley's annual campaign, which is Topeka, Lawrence, Douglas, Shawnee, Jefferson counties. Your local United Way does much of the same sort of work as well. But in order to support your campaign for the Topeka area, how do we give, Angel?
Yeah, so, it's never too late to run a workplace campaign. So Marlou mentioned, those companies, big or small, can run a campaign. And it's a fun way to give back. It's a meaningful way for those employees to give back and get to know their fellow employees. So there's always that opportunity.
It's a good excuse to have a bonding activity.
Absolutely. It totally is.
For sure.
Great way to have great food, have a lot of fun at the workplace. The other thing, people always forget, you can give to us outside the workplace. So people can go online to uwkawvalley.org/give, and they can make a gift right on that website or through any of the other ways that people like to give, through gifts of will, through IRA gifts and that sort of thing as well.
And if you're one of those who likes to talk it over, get a little more information first, there's the phone number, 785-228-5117. Or if you have time, I've always said, especially when I was early on in my career, I thought I don't have a lot of money, but I have time. Visit that volunteer website, kawvalleyvolunteers.org. Angel, Marlou, thank you both so very much. You can tell they're a lot of fun to have around too.
I won't be back anytime.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Hold you to that. Of course, that campaign is for United Way Kaw Valley, which is Shawnee, Jefferson, Douglas counties. There are so many United Way organizations that are active in communities all around our area. So reach out to the one closest to you, learn a little bit more about what they do, and you might find yourself supporting them and having fun with some fun people as well. It's always fun to have you around on Eye on Northeast Kansas. You can see the video from these segments and of all of the guests that we have in our studio on WIBW.com. We also post them on our YouTube channel, WIBW 13 News. Be sure to click like while you are there and subscribe while you are there. You can also see our behind the scenes studio selfies and links to all the segments when you head to my Facebook page, WIBW Melissa Bruner. Hope you had a great time this week. Hope you were able to stay warm if you are in one of the many areas that are in the deep freeze. We're looking forward to warmer weather ahead. And until next time, we'll see you on the red couch.